Me too.
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 I'm Ashley Large, and this is my Me Too story. Where we're at right now, I feel like is a pivotal moment for this to be brought to light. As a woman growing up, you experience sexual harassment, or I experienced sexual harassment just on so many levels on such a daily basis that you forget that you're not an object, and you just slowly get accustomed to that concept and that belief. But I don't want girls to grow up into women who live that lie that it's okay and that they are less. When I was 15 years old, and ironically, I want to say it was a homecoming party in a room full of people. All of our friends were there, and we were having like a movie night. I was 15 years old, and there was it was a den type area, so there was like a TV and everyone was watching movies, and then there was like separate couches in the back of the room. Like maybe my innocent intentions were perceived differently, but I ended up losing my virginity involuntarily in a room full of people when I was 15 years old. And I just remember like crying and freaking out, and my friends were like embarrassed of me, and I had to get picked up, and like that just leaves a lasting impression on you at that age. I didn't even feel compelled to like tell anybody, because it's like, who's going to listen to a girl who, it's like the most popular guy on the football team. And just that with men, I feel like there's this issue of profiling, and it's like, oh well, he has this demeanor and this persona and this image, which you see all the time on the media, like actors, directors, producers, teachers, men who have this image, and people just refuse to believe that they're capable of something like that. And so I would just challenge everyone and encourage people to hold those thoughts and consider that a common trait actually of people who repeatedly assault are oftentimes men who have very likable personas, and they kind of have this alternate personality behind closed doors. I would just encourage everyone to research about it and, ask men who are listening to this to take an interest in this cultural issue that we have, and challenge themselves and ask themselves the way that they partake in that issue. Even if you're not someone who disrespects women, or maybe in your mind you're like, oh, I totally respect women, it's like, if you are someone who just sits in silence when you see something like that, or maybe it makes them uncomfortable, and so they just would rather, kind of like ignorance is bliss, they just would rather ignore it. But I would just ask those people, whether it's men or women, to start taking an interest and start caring and start speaking out, because someday that could be your daughter, or it could be your sister, it could have been your mother. In order to change something, you have to address the issue face forward, like, yes, this is a cultural issue, and no, it's not okay, and yes, it's happening all the time. And then, if you're not comfortable hearing other people's stories, just research it, like take a personal interest in learning like what you can do to change that. I fully support women in general protecting themselves as well. Like, don't feel like you're letting other women down just because you don't want to go telling everyone about your story. Don't feel like you're letting women down because you don't want to post a hashtag #MeToo on Facebook. Don't feel obligated to suffer in silence either. And I think that there can be a healthy medium just to continue to bring awareness. And, you know, hopefully we'll continue to see a change, or people like you who are willing to collaborate, and, you know, we're stronger in numbers for sure. And I think that's a really good start.